Good afternoon. This is Betty Shan again, and I'm glad you've chosen to join us today. And I hope some of you are joining our videos, and the ones that haven't, we're still glad you're with us. But today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my husband, Edgel. He was a great provider. He loved his children, and he was an amazing man at times. I remember a time that I don't know whether you remember or not, but they started producing what they called ice milk. Instead of making ice cream, they would put ice milk in a carton and sell it as though it was ice cream, but it was a lot cheaper. And they said it was a lot better for you because it didn't have all the sugar and a lot of the stuff in it that the ice cream did, and the rich cream and what have you. So he happened to go to the store one day, and he seen a carton of that ice milk. And he decided, with all these little girls here, that ice milk would be just the thing to get them. So he purchased that ice milk, and he brought it in. And after the girls got through eating their supper, well, we got a little dish out apiece, and we put some ice cream in it, and they tasted of it. One of them might have eaten 2 or 3 bites of it, but they kind of shoved it back. They didn't want it. It wasn't ice cream, it was ice milk. And so nothing was said about it, but eventually I got that ice milk out of the freezer and threw it in the trash, and it was all forgot about. But Mr. Edgel Shan didn't forget. He went to the store again one day, and he was supposed to pick up a loaf of bread or a gallon of milk, and here he come home with this ice milk. And it was on sale. You got 2 for the price of 1, so he bought 2 of them. And he brought it in, and after the girls got through with their supper, I didn't say much. I just went ahead and put it in the freezer, and when it come time to eat some ice cream after they'd eat their supper, well, I got them all a little dish of ice cream, and they done the same thing again. They pushed it back. One of them hollered, "Yuck!" And anyway, the ice milk didn't go over, and so I told him, I said, "Mr. Shan, you cannot keep bringing ice milk home because just because you think the kids will eat it," said, "you have to buy them things they like. You just don't just buy something just because you think they'll eat it." And I said, "Edgel, don't buy no more of that ice milk because these kids aren't going to eat it." Well, he couldn't understand why they wouldn't eat that ice milk. Well, them kids were smart enough to know the difference between ice milk and ice cream. And there's a big difference there. So anyway, that was our experience with ice milk. He decided that maybe he shouldn't buy no more of it. But I remember so many times that he would come in and I'd need a loaf of bread or a gallon of milk or something for the next day. And instead of getting all the little girls ready to go to the store, well, he'd run to the store for me. And it got to where every time he'd come back, well, he'd have something different in the sack that I didn't buy, or he'd pick them up candy or even fruit sometimes. When one time he come home with the bananas. They had bananas on sale. Well, I don't care how much they have them on sale. You can only eat so many bananas. But he come home with the biggest bunch of bananas you ever seen. And I ended up throwing some of them away. But at that time, our budget was tight. We didn't have money just to go out and buy everything we wanted. And he was taking money that I had put back for milk and bread and things and school lunches and things that we had to have before the next payday. I didn't have money just to flounder it off. I had to watch what I'd done. So that day one day he come in with the biggest bunch of bananas you ever seen in your life. There wasn't no way I could save them bananas and keep them bananas. I even put some of them in the refrigerator thinking they wouldn't turn as fast. But anyway, we ended up throwing away bananas. But he got to doing that so much because it thrilled him that he was getting to buy things for these kids that I wouldn't buy. And they was excited when he'd go to the store and he'd come in and he'd have all these goodies. So finally I had to take him aside. I said, "Now, Mr. Edgel," I said, buying stuff and extra stuff is nice, but if we don't eat it, you've wasted the money. And I said, and besides that, this money is money I keep, that if we run out of something, or I have to have lunch money, or something comes up at school and I have to have a little extra money to pay for different things they had to pay for, their weekly readers and whatever, I said, we've got a little money put back. And I said, you're taking the money and you're spending it when you go to the store. And said, I'm counting on that money to have money to run us till next payday. But I had to get on to him, and I kind of felt sorry for him, because he was doing that because the kids was liking it. He was getting them things like chips and cookies and stuff that we didn't have all the time. And as a matter of fact, most of our desserts was things I would make. I didn't go out and buy them. I made them if we had them. But he was doing his part. He was making them girls happy. And of course, they always loved seeing their daddy come in. They would be good all day long, but the minute Daddy come in, the play pretty come home, and he played with them, and he had a big time with them. So he just had them spoiled kind of, and I had to tell him, Edgel, we can't do this. As bad as I hated to tell him, I said, we're going to have to watch our money, because I have to have money for the next, until the 2 weeks is up and we get another paycheck. But anyway, he tried to sell them on that ice milk, and they knew it wasn't ice cream. They didn't like it. As a matter of fact, it was yucky. And so anyway, that's just another thought I thought about today. And I thought, yeah, a lot of times these husbands like to do things, but they want to get little stars in their crown for doing something special. When mamas can't do it, they've got to watch their pennies. So you just smile, have a nice day, keep your chin up, and live for the Lord.